Hi! As you see here on my table, nowadays, in developed countries, we have so many choices when it comes to breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But imagine living in a war situation where food is scarce and all you can eat are these potatoes and some tulip bulbs. That is what happened in the Netherlands during the winter of the Second World War. Children of women who were pregnant during this starvation are now over 70 years of age, and they have been much more susceptible to a multitude of chronic diseases throughout their life. A large proportion could simply be explained by the fact that an individual's mother had experienced starvation during the Second World War. We call this susceptibility to disease throughout life, resulting from exposures during pregnancy, the theory of developmental origins of health and disease. It is also known as the fetal programming hypothesis or the Barker hypothesis. David Barker was a well-known researcher and is regarded as one of the founders of this theory. In a famous study in the 1990s, he observed that in areas in England with high infant mortality, they also had high rates of cardiovascular deaths. He also found associations between smaller birth weight and elevated blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes later in life. This made researchers aware of the crucial role that the first 1,000 days of life play for the risk of chronic diseases. These first 1,000 days in life is the time from conception until 2 years after birth. And ever since David Barker published this theory with supporting evidence, many studies have confirmed the relevance of this critical window of opportunity for prevention of chronic diseases. One example of one of these studies that confirmed the theory is the Dutch hunger winter study, which is based on the last winter of the Second World War. Between November 1944 and May 1945, the daily food intake in the western part of the Netherlands was very low, with an average of 400 to 800 kilocalories per day. This unfortunately affected pregnant women as well. Especially exposure to this starvation in the last trimester of pregnancy had direct effects resulting in lower birth weights. However, those women that suffered starvation during the first and second trimester of pregnancy had children that in their adult life now have higher rates of cardiovascular disease, depression, diabetes, kidney failure, and lung disease. So the limited availability of nutrients during this critical time window, when all organs of the fetus were formed, increased vulnerability for the whole body. Moreover, the organs and bodies of the offspring adapted to the intrauterine environment, expecting starvation later in life as well. And this caused a mismatch between the starvation and the abundance of foods currently in their lives, and the obesogenic environment we're currently living in. This mismatch is harmful for the risks of cardiometabolic diseases. So I hope you are now familiar with the theory of developmental origins of health and disease. This theory can provide a link between early life environment and disease risk later in life. And one of the potential biological explanations for this long-term effect could be epigenetics, which are changes in the genetic makeup that do not alter the DNA sequence, but that can control whether genes are switched on or off.